All right, well, let's finish off talking about the front three going on for the rest of the season, or even previously at the first part of the season. But who do you think the best front three is, David, in terms of positions? Everyone, I think Josh likes him in the 9. You like him on the left in terms of Heung-min Son. But who do you think our best front three are?
I do think it's Son on the left, Kulu on the right, and Richarlison down the middle. Personally, that's what I do think our best front three is. I understand the argument that Josh is going to make, and he's dying to come in here. But look, I personally, I feel like Richarlison was scapegoated at the weekend. I see everyone scapegoating Richarlison. Oh, put Son down the middle. Richarlison was useless. Ask yourself, if Haaland was in that team at the weekend, would he have scored? Of course not. We didn't put any balls into the box. We took barely any shots. We barely tested our goalkeeper. What do you want Richarlison to do? We know selling Harry Kane, we were going to take a hit in terms of a player that's going to drop off, do the creativity, spin, pass a ball, put Sonny in behind and stuff like that. And by the way, that's killing Sonny this season, not having that sort of player up front. So we know you have to provide him with service. If you don't put the ball in the box, you can't score, can you? So, I do feel people are being very harsh on Richarlison in that regard, in that sort of terms. The reason why I like Sonny out on the left is because I don't trust anyone else to do any creativity out there. I don't trust Werner. I highlighted it weeks ago, which I got pelters for because it was unpopular. And I don't rate Johnson at all to do it either. So for me, when you look at Sonny, he can score goals and he can create goals, but there's no point in putting him up front if there's no one supplying them. That's what one of the biggest problems was. That's why we had to move him out to the left-hand side in the first place, because, Maddison was supplying him. He went injured. That supply stopped. Some became nothing, null and void completely. I hear people saying Maddison's back, put him back up front. Okay, but have you been watching the games? Every team stifles us down the middle. They block up that middle. They are not allowing that pass on, so it's no use. And until we get better options out wide, Son has to play out on the left. He's always scored goals out there. He's always scored and assisted goals out there. Everyone's telling me he's a striker. What evidence have you got for that? He's played all of his career off the left-hand side. He's better to be on the left winger, and he's better for Tottenham Hotspur right now to be off the left wing. So he has to stay out there. Kulu needs to pull the finger out his hole and start doing a little bit more when he gets the ball. He's very quickly just to take the sort of safe pass a lot of the times when the ball goes out there. Big, strong, strapping ginger lad like him. Use that to your advantage. Run at players. Put fear into them. I think the forward players need to sort of pull themselves together in a huddle and shake themselves up a bit and realize what they are. When we get you the ball, you're the guys to produce flair. Go and do it. It's that simple. It's an easy solution. Stop passing it back inside. Next time you do that, I'll take you off and I'll bring on Johnson, even though how bad he is. And hopefully you learn your lesson. But that's my best front three, and that's all I'm going to say on it. I highlighted in the summer, selling Harry Kane would cause us huge problems, and no one wanted to listen to it. Now we're here. You can deal with it. I already tried to highlight it.
You can deal with it. The problem's on you now. But mate, Kulusevski created third or fourth most chances in the whole of Europe this season is the stat. I couldn't believe it when I saw that, to be honest. But I agree with you, Dave. I think that's our front three, but I also think it's different horses for different courses. I don't want to see Son in a number 9 against a low block team, but I do want to see Son as a number 9 when we're playing a high pressing team like a Man City or a Liverpool. I think it doesn't have to be this is our best front three and this is the front three that plays every single game. But I think the front three at the moment is obviously not working the way we want it to work. And going back to the Wolves game, if you play Son in the number 9 against Wolves, it doesn't change the result at all. So where are you at with it, Josh?
I'm sorry, I've got to disagree with that because I know I'm big on the Son in the 9. Let me tell you why. Because there was a moment. This is one of the most frustrating things about Richarlison for me on Saturday specifically. I'll put my hands up and admit I was wrong about Richarlison overall. I think he's a brilliant squad option, and I think he can definitely do a job as a striker. I don't want him to leave in the summer if he doesn't have to. I'm happy with him. But do you not remember when this was in the first, I'd say, 15 minutes, we started getting those beating their press in midfield. And this is when the game state is neutral as well. So but before they've scored, that's when Son through the middle is so important because Richarlison is not hanging on to the ball properly and his layoffs are awful. And even, do you not remember there was that moment where he was I don't know if he was through on goal quite or something like that, and he just whacked the ball. Like,
how many
Son
times
does
did
not
Son
do
lose the
that.
ball on the left-hand side trying to hold it up, though, Josh? Let's be brutally honest.
On the
I'm all
left.
for pulling out a play. But Sonny lost the ball loads of times, you know, in the build-up phase.
No. But Sonny does much better through the middle when it comes to recycling possession and holding it. He's proved it because he's actually created more chances than Kulusevski, I think he has, or something like that. He.
Same.
Yeah,
I'm not sure he has, but yeah. Anyway.
Well, he's
I
close.
think through balls. I think maybe accurate through balls, maybe, or something like that. Specific stat, I think he has.
And then also, you know, David, when it comes to like, what evidence do you have of Sonny being good through the middle? It's this season. It's where he scored all his goals. It's where he created all the chances.
Okay, but how are you going to feed him the ball if they're blocking up the middle and Maddison's come and null and void out of that? That's where he was getting a lot of his goals, that link up with Maddison. Teams have blocked that up. Where's the supply going to come from?
It's not as simple as that because we haven't seen Sonny through the middle, starting through the middle since Maddison has been back and since teams have supposedly blocked it up. Tell me the game where he started through the middle. We haven't had it. And that's the important link up that we had, which was similar to Son and Kane. I'm not saying it's the same level, but like those are our two best players, our two most clinical players, our two most creative players in the squad, the ones that are probably a level above the rest of them. I want them as close together as possible. And Sonny is better hanging on to the ball than Richarlison. Do you know what I mean? Richarlison, low block team, fair enough. Or if we're chasing the game and we want to put Sonny out wide to cross it into Richarlison and we want to start being a bit more punty, fair enough. But like, I want to see Sonny start through the middle because our best football has come when Sonny started through the middle. If you're going to go back to the original question, what is our best front three? It's always for me going to be Sonny through the middle because that's when we have played at our best. If you're going back to Bournemouth, Burnley, Arsenal, you know, when have we created the most chances and looked the best? It's Son through the middle. That's what I think.
How many games has he actually played through the middle?
He's played 12 games, 12 games through the middle, 9 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah.
So I mean,
9 games as a left winger, 3 goals, 4 assists.
I see, not bad record in either one, but still better up front.
Yeah, and if you look at the winger goals, one of them was that scuff shot against Everton, I think it was, or something like that from a corner. And the other 2 was when Trippier was dead on his feet. Sorry, assists. When Trippier was just absolute. Son cannot beat a man on the left now, it looks like. So he has to play through the middle for me. If he could beat a man, then I'd put him on the left, but he can't. So,
but in terms of him playing through the middle, right, I'm looking at it now, yeah? 3 goals against Burnley, which if Richarlison, in the current form he's on, he could have easily done the same against this Burnley side. You know, they're getting ripped apart. Yes, of course he could. Maybe not those specific goals, but he could have found moments in games to score multiple goals. 100% against a Burnley side. Why not? Burnley are getting ripped to shreds every week.
Fair enough, but what I'm saying is like, he wouldn't score the same sort of goals that Sonny did in that
that's fair enough.
Instance. Like that kind of clinical finish, you know, when he chipped the keeper and all that sort of stuff. Richie isn't doing that. Richie has to have many more chances to score goals. So, you know, that's kind of where our XG has come from as well when it comes to like being clinical.
What I'm saying is, out of all the goals he scored at centre forward, all of them have been against high-pressing teams pretty much. 3 against Burnley, who are a high-pressing team. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1, Man City 1, and 2 against Fulham and Palace, which you can say they're not high-pressing teams. But more or less, the majority of his goals as a number 9 all come against teams that press high up the pitch. So Richarlison has to play as number 9 against those kind of teams.
Well, the thing is, we did beat the press against Wolves, though. Richie was then through, and then he's mucked it up. That's what I'm saying. Sonny would not in that situation. I just want my more clinical players closer to the goal. That's all it is.
I think the problem we have is Son is our best winger and our best number 9. I think that is basically the problem we have in this squad. So I actually agree with Josh. If I think what is Son's best position right now, I think it's up front. I think he's a striker. I think he's the most clinical striker, one of the most clinical strikers, if not the most in the league. I think if you give him, he just needs one chance to score. I think his overall game has really improved this season. I know, actually, to be fair to Rishi, I'm going to give him his props. His overall game in recent months has massively improved. I still think Son's is better, but I think Rishi's has improved to a really good level. So I'm very happy with that. The problem we have is, with Rishi in the goal scoring form that he's in, can you justify taking him out for Son to put someone like Werner on the left, where he's not really producing that much? Whereas Son, at least on the left, he's still producing, and Richarlison is in good goal scoring form. So is that the best compromise at the moment for our best three? For our best front three, sorry, it's a really difficult one. I would love to see Son back in the number 9, to be honest. As much as I love Rishi, I just think that was when we were playing our best football, and that's when we are our most fluid. And I think Son was actually really starting to adapt to playing against low blocks. Like that goal against Arsenal, he was surrounded by like 4 players, and he was able to find just one little pocket of space, one flick, and able to score a goal. Like, he can do that. I do think against a low block, Rishi is probably better. I do concede that. I think when the penalty area has loads of different defenders around it and you're swinging balls into the box, Richie's more likely to get on the end of one than someone like Son is. But I think definitely when the game state is level, I think Son is definitely a more effective striker, in my opinion. And the problem that we have when, for example, like Saturday, is if Richie's not having the best game, but you want to change it and we're losing, Son is not the striker you want to put in the number 9 when you're losing. Like, you need the best. Son is at his very best if the game stays either level or we're winning, and then the opposition has to commit a bit of risk, and then Son's there to pounce on any sort of space they leave, anything. He's there to run in behind. So maybe the best course of action is, well, I would love to say start Richie in the 9, and if we're winning, you put Son there. I just hate it when we're losing in a game and then Richie comes off. And when we're chasing a game, because I feel like we need a striker like Rishi we need Richarlison on the pitch if we're chasing a game. That's what I feel like we need. So it's a bit of a balancing act. So if I'm going for my best front three right now, I would have to put Son back on the left and Rishi up front, just because would I rather Son up front, Werner on the left? Josh, what's the answer? Would you rather Werner on the left and Son up front, or would you rather Son on the left and Richie up front?
You could put Richie on the left.
Right now, this second.
No, I wouldn't want Richie on the left.
Sorry, it's cutting out slightly for me, but right now, this second, I'd put Richie on the left, just like how we did against Liverpool and a couple other games and stuff like that. Like, if you really want to start Richie, which, to be honest, it's hard because from game to game it changes. But for right this second, after that performance, I would start Son through the middle, probably Werner on the left and Kulu again. And then Richie would be my first sub. He'd be my first sub. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I would do it. But if you have to play Richie, then I'd try him on the left. And then it's in-game management. You can go, Richie, go through the middle now. And they can swap. Like, do you know what I mean? They both know how to play both positions.